Freiburg, the city at the edge of the Black Forest, is known as a pioneer for sustainability and climate action. The residents hope to reduce CO2 emissions by as much as 40% by 2030. Urban measures such as the use of renewable energy and low-energy houses were the first step. Now the citizens need to get involved even more intensively. But how can environmental protection become something living and relevant in their daily lives? We have a partnership, a sister city in France, Besançon, and when we were there on a visit, we realized that they were ahead of us when it came to working intensively with families. We're not merely approaching the individual citizens, but rather we're really trying to address families. And we want grandchildren, grandfathers and grandmothers, or mothers and daughters to approach the topic of sustainability together.
Tochter und Mutter miteinander sich mit dem Thema Nachhaltigkeit beschäftigen.
The project, 200 Families Active for the Climate, was launched by the Environmental Protection Agency. Participating families had a year to try out how and where they could protect the environment in everyday life. More specifically, in the areas of consumption, nutrition, mobility and energy. Just like pioneers, the families discovered climate action in fun and creative ways. The crucial part of the project was that the city didn't impose measures. It motivated and encouraged people. For example, with various events organized for the participating families.
Das Veranstaltungsprogramm.
One element was the event program. Each family was also given advice on how to save energy and electricity in their household. And they were told how to operate an amp meter, how they can read it, how high the power consumption is when devices are on standby, and so on. Additionally, the city offered an exchange with participating families in Besançon, along with other activities. We developed an additional exercise book to assist them, containing suggested exercises and thought experiments. And finally, it also included some intensive experiments. One of these was the 50-kilometer diet. Can you imagine consuming products which were produced within an area of 50 kilometers for a week? It's not easy, but through this challenge, participating families learned to question their habits. And this is having an impact. Something that's definitely changed for me is that I no longer just buy something, but now I always look at the label to see where the product comes from. My awareness has changed when it comes to that. I use the car less now, relatively speaking, and I use my bike a lot, much more than what I used to, and also public transport options. The participants shared their experiences with one another quite intensively. Some of them wrote about their activities in blogs, newspaper articles, and school essays. The city of Freiburg also focused on targeted PR work. I believe that we've developed something that's attracting considerable interest at the moment. Namely, what possibilities for action do people have when it comes to climate action policy? People in Freiburg have now realized how much they can actually do. 200 families active for the climate. The urban project has shown in a pragmatic and versatile way that environmental protection isn't necessarily an additional task, but a part of daily life.